Welcome to the Get Fit With Me, Expanding Your Physical and Mental Fitness group. This group is for individuals who are ready to expand both their physical and mental fitness while helping and supporting others with similar goals all along the way. Hello, Lois. Happy to have you on today. How are you? You're still muted. Sorry, I mute everybody when they come on. Let me take that off. I've taken off on my end for anyone else who jumps on, but you are still muted. So today I want to welcome 5 new people into the group before we get started. We have Allie, Jennifer, Marissa, Brittany, and Tanya. And we have a grandson with us today. Look how cute he is. Is he gonna hang out and foam roll with us? Oh yeah, are you ready? Yeah, well, perfect. So we are doing a foam rolling workshop. I'm going to talk here in the beginning for just a little bit before we get started. Reminder, if you're watching on Facebook, click that little Zoom link above, jump on in. That way you can ask the questions you want, participate, and I can kind of help and make sure that everything's feeling right. If you are not able to when you're watching the replay, hashtag replay for me so I can answer any of your questions. I try to stay up on the Facebook comments, but I cannot always get to them because there is a delay. So just so you know. So let's get into it. I'm excited. Foam rolling. First, let's introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and do you own a foam roller? Can you hear me? Who you are, where you're from, and do you own a foam roller? And you are muted before you talk. Your mute should be in the bottom left-hand corner. There you go.
Okay. I'm Lois. I'm from Minnesota. I do have a foam roller, actually 3 of them, 2 Rolgas and a regular long one.
Nice. So are your Rolgas small or are they long like this one?
They're smaller.
Okay.
Let's see.
Ooh, is that the firm one or the less firm one that you have?
Is the least firm you can possibly get. I also have a black one that is super firm, which was too firm for me.
Okay, you bring a great point. There are different firmnesses in our foam rollers, and you've made the mistake, I'm gonna say, of buying one that was a little too firm. Does that seem right?
Yes. Yep.
And so Lois and I talked in the back end about how when you get a massage, having a deep tissue massage and being able to tolerate it is completely different than self-induced pain that you want to put on yourself. So foam rolling, do you know the definition of foam rolling or what foam rolling is, Lois? What would you consider foam rolling?
Basically what I use it for is sore muscles, stretching, getting some of that tightness out of your body. But I've also been to a class that was actually a class that was a exercise class. So you can use it for that as well.
Nice. That is perfect. That leads exactly into, so releasing the tension, helping with recovery. So foam rolling is a form of self-myofascial release. So essentially it's self-massage with using a tool. I can sit here and massage my forearm, or I can use a tool such as a foam roller, a tennis ball, some metal Graston tools. The foam roller is just a tool we are choosing to use today and work through. Mike Boyle is huge in the fitness industry, and he wrote an article and it says, if you do it right and you do it often, foam rolling decreases muscle stiffness, breaks up adhesions and scar tissues that stop your muscles from functioning properly. So just like stretching, it is important for our bodies that although we may not feel like we're getting a good sweat on or burning the calories you want or getting that workout, you're still doing good for your body by incorporating self-massage and foam rolling into your everyday activity. So we have the foam roller being brought to us. I'm gonna go over.
Carter's helping me out today.
Oh, I love it. How old is he?
He's 4.
4. Oh, he's the helping age. He's going to help with everything.
You betcha.
So benefits of foam rolling, just kind of like how Lois said, we have to warm up the muscles is a great one. A lot of times, if I don't want to do a dynamic warm up, but my muscles still need to get warm, I'll move through some of the exercises that I'm going to show you today so that our muscles are warm and are able to move more effectively during our workouts. Another thing is aiding in faster recovery. Sometimes we haven't worked out in a while and we know we're going to be sore the next day and the following day and maybe even that third day, but taking time to foam roll is going to help make it less intense during those times. You're going to essentially give yourself a self massage to help release some of that tension that you were hanging on to, that your muscles are agitated with. It's going to help promote short-term increase in range of motion. I see that the most for me in my chest. I do a lot of sitting in front of the computer now that I've changed to virtual, and being able to open my chest up for a short amount of times helps me throughout my day when I feel like I'm getting tight. It can loosen tight tissue and improve blood flow. And then it reduces tension and stress in the muscles. And who wouldn't want that? Common mistakes that I find are moving way too fast. So you will see we are going to move up and down the muscle, whether it's in our leg or it's through range of motion. But a lot of times people just want to move fast because I'm going to be honest, it's not enjoyable in the moment. And if anybody who does it says, oh no, I absolutely love it, it feels so good, it's the most relaxing thing, you need to tell me your secrets, because that is never the case. We sit there and you breathe through it, but then you feel great in the end. Something else to remember is avoid your bony areas in your joints. You don't want to ever roll over your elbow joint or your knee joint or your ankle joint. I always try to stay 2 to 3 fingers above the joint itself. Today we'll be working on this outside. So I like to kind of put my hand down and only go till about somewhere between 2 and 4 fingers, depending on the tightness. You don't have muscle around in that joint area, you don't need to roll over it. It's going to be very uncomfortable as well. And then the last thing is, the more familiar you get with these moves, you'll start to get comfortable with moving up and down the foam roller. And right now, that's all I want you to worry about today is getting comfortable. If you are comfortable, I want you to think about, so you stand and you flex your quad and you make it really tight and then you relax it. That flex relax sensation that we're doing, we want to mimic that while we are foam rolling to help allow for a greater release. But until we've mastered just moving through and not feeling super awkward in our movements, that is, once we've gone through that, that is when we can then contract and relax those muscles as we move through. A lot of the times I don't worry about that unless I've been actively doing this multiple times a week. And if I have, then I worry about that. If not, I just worry about going through the motions, making sure everything's moving properly and breathing, deep breathing through those pain points, because I promise we are going to hit pain points today and they're not going to feel fantastic. But once we are done, they will. So are we ready to start moving? Perfect. So Lois, if you are able to tilt me down so I can see you when we are going to be on the ground for all of this. So if you want to move your computer, move your phone, whatever you need to. For those who are watching, make sure you bring your phone down with you so you can watch this down below. I'm going to tilt just a little bit more. Okay, so we have a few different movements today. I'm going to first show you my favorite one. And this is the best one to do if you have a long foam roller like I do. I have my tennis ball for a whole other reason. Foam roller. Laying straight. I'm going to lay down on the foam roller so that my tailbone and my head are touching the foam roller. And then I'm going to move through an I, Y, and T motion. So I'm going to go up, trying to touch my thumbs behind me, coming on down, out like you're doing the YMCA, coming down, and then out like a big open cross. So how I like to do is I like to slowly make my way down. You usually hear my knees snap, crackle, pop on my way. Tailbone is as far as I can go down because I have a long torso. And then I'm just going to sit. First, I'm just going to lay here. You are probably going to feel a little bit of unstableness. You're going to start to rock. If that is the case, take those feet out wide. Create a larger base of support for you. You can put your hands down the side. Next, you're probably going to feel your back kind of crack Mine always does. Take a deep breath. Let's bring those hands up directly above us so that our fingertips are pointing to the sky. And you're giving me a thumbs up. And now let's reach those arms back really slow. You're going to start to feel a stretch here. If your thumbs can touch the ground, fantastic. If they can't, hold to the point where it feels good, but it does not cause pain. And then slowly bring those arms back up to that starting position. Good. Now you're going to point those thumbs out at a 45-degree angle, and you're going to go out like you're doing the YMCA. Think about squeezing those shoulder blades together. Deep breath. Coming back up to center. Good. Now, thumbs are still pointing up, and we're going to go out like a big bear hug. Opening those arms up. This is probably going to be the easiest for people. This is a very common shoulder move. And then we come all the way back up. Good. Let's work through two more times through. So reaching back behind our head for our eye. Little thing to remember, good, bring yourself on up, is as we reach back, we want to try to keep our lower back pressed into the foam roller. We're going out to our Y. A lot of times when we do our I motion, good, coming back up, we let that back arch. We don't want that. We want that back nice and stable into that foam roller. Good. Out to the side for a nice big T. Good, coming back up. One more time through here. This third time, you should be feeling like your range of motion is getting a little better. You're probably feeling a good stretch in those lats, which is down the side of that rib cage. Good, coming back up. Let's go into that Y, taking those thumbs out at a 45-degree angle. Good. Remembering that deep breath when our arms are open. Good, coming back in. And last one here on our T's. Good. So now once your hands get up to the top, I'm just going to have you bring them to your belly and just relax here. So the next one we're going to do is I want you to pretend you are a kid again and it is winter time. We're going to do snow angels, or I call them sand angels until the snow actually comes, because I don't want to wish it upon us too early. You're going to take those hands, palms up, down by your hips. And then you're going to keep your hands on the ground as best as you can as you reach up and then coming back down. Imagine only your upper half is moving through that snow angel movement. Maybe your hands are touching the ground the whole time. Maybe you're hovering. If you are hovering, it means you have some tightness in that chest. Good. Lois, how's this feeling?
Tight.
Tight?
Yes, I'm really tight. Yep.
So there is one more. I'm going to have you go all the way back up into the top of our snow angel. So your palms are up. And now, so this is kind of an I position. And then have you drive your elbows down to your sides. Trying to keep your elbow. Yeah, that is probably going to feel the most tight. Good. And then slowly reaching back up. If at any point you're on the foam roller and you realize the stretch is too intense, you are always welcome to do these off the foam roller just to get your body warmed up. Good. Perfect. Bring those hands back to you. Transition off. I usually will roll to my side. It's not always most graceful, however, we transition off of that foam roller, but you're gonna roll on off. And now you're gonna pretend it's your body pillow. You have a long body pillow in bed. Your foot and your knee are going to be up on it, and you're just gonna lay down on that elbow, or on that bicep, really. And then from here, I call these open and close the book. So my palm is touching the ground, I'm going to open my hand up and I'm going to follow my hand with my head, feeling a nice little stretch. Key is to not take your knee off that foam roller. A lot of times we'll open that hip up just to get that range of motion, but we want that knee to stay nice and close. So really slow, find that spot of tightness, nice deep breath, and close. Good. While we are in this position, we can do one last one. I call it sunrise, sunset. So you're in the same starting position. Your top hand palm is on the ground, and you're gonna run that hand up around your head as far as you can, keeping that knee into the foam roller, and then bring that sun back down for sunset in the evening. Got it. And come back the way you started. So we're coming up like this, and then coming down. Good. Nice big sunrise. Following that clock back down. Good. These are awesome for our shoulder range of motion. We're opening that chest up. Anytime we do anything about sitting in front of a screen, these are good muscles to stretch out. Good. Let's plant that hand and let's rotate to the other side because we got to keep ourselves equal. So you guys can either roll over or I'm going to flip so you can still see. We're going to start with that open and close the book. Knee stays on that foam roller, foot stays on that foam roller, palm is down, and we're going to open and look at that book page. And then slowly come on back. You should feel a nice stretch here in that lower back, maybe even that middle back, and into that chest. I like to tell people that you should always do 3 to 5 on each side, whether it's the sunrise, sunset, open and close the book, eyes, Y's, and T's. But going 3 to 5 times, you are going to see that each time you do it, you're going to get a little bit more flexible, a little bit more tension is going to be released. Good. Let's go into that sunrise, sunset. So palms on the ground. We're going to reach up towards our head, working on that shoulder range of motion, and then bringing that hand on down. Just like when we work out, working on that breathing is super important. We never want to hold our breath, especially if there's a really tight muscle tension spot. You will really feel it when we get to work on those legs here in a bit. Good. Let's do one more sunrise, sunset. Good. Slowly press yourself up. I like to use my top hand and press myself up onto my side. We're going to go into a child's pose next. So child's pose can be done without a foam roller. Even if you don't have one and you're still watching, you can do this without the foam roller. So knees out nice and wide, pushing those hips back, walking those hands out in front of you. The goal is to get your glutes to your heels. If you have the foam roller, like Lois and I, you're going to place those hands on that foam roller and then sit down into that child's pose. This is going to allow for a really deep stretch all the way down the side of that rib cage, into the backs of those arms and through our hands. Nice deep breaths, trying to lower that forehead down. This pose, even without a foam roller, is really good for just releasing that lower back. If you've been feeling a lot of tension back there, this is perfect. When we are doing something like this, where there's no movement involved, I want us to think about taking 3 to 5 deep breaths instead of moving 3 to 5 times. Nice big inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Good. When you are ready, you're gonna slowly bring your chest up and roll that foam roller back to you. Good. Lois, how you feeling so far?
Good. The stretch, I really need to stretch. I'm really tight in the shoulders and the back. So yeah, it's good.
Good. So we're gonna move on to our lower portion now. We will possibly have one more upper body stretch at the end. We will see what time looks like, but I want to get to our lower body. So the thing, those eyes wide and T's, open and close the book, sunrise, sunset, child's pose, those are all fantastic for that upper body that we are always using and doing things with throughout the day, but we don't ever take time to stretch. So let's move to our lower body. Let's take a seat on your foam roller. I'm going to sit with a nice wide feet to help make sure I'm stable. We're gonna work on our glutes. So your glutes are anywhere from the side here to the back. Next, I'm going to take my right hand, because I'm gonna work my right glute, straighten my right leg, take my right hand behind me. Bend my left leg, and I'm just gonna slowly move up and down just a little. See, do you have any knots in there? Maybe your glutes feel pretty good. The backs of my glutes feel great, but if I were to shift more towards my right side a little bit and get more into that hip, you may see me reach for the sky, because I know I have crud in there, that this is going to make my lower back feel so much better. And I'm using my left leg to leverage my body, and I'm also using my right arm. Are you feeling any kind of stuff in there, or pretty loose in there, Lois?
Oh, I feel stuff.
Good. So we're gonna kind of work through a series here. So now what I'm gonna have you do is keep that right leg straight. Take that left leg and take it on top. So you're kind of doing a pretzel. I'm gonna take my left hand and bring it to the front. And now I'm gonna work from that hip down to that 3 to 4 fingers above my knee. Slowly, this is, I think, my worst area. Slowly moving. Remember, you can use that left foot to leverage yourself by taking some of that pressure off. We're only moving a half an inch to an inch at a time. This is a big one where it hurts. So people move very, very quickly through this, and you get no benefit out of it. And you will probably find the closer you get to your kneecap and closer you get to your hip, those insertions, you will have a little bit more crud than the middle of your abductors. Nice deep breaths. If you find a spot, hold it. Take 3 deep breaths or 2, whatever you can get in. Good. Let's slowly bring ourselves up, shake ourselves out. If we are runners or bikers or avid walkers, that muscle right there is a super important one to make sure we stretch, because when we move in that forward motion so often, those muscles will over tighten and pull on the knees and make some unnecessary pain in that knee. So remember that when you're like, oh, my knees may be bugging me, stretch out some of those muscles, foam roll on the outside and see if that helps it. Other side glute now. So I did my right, so now I'm doing my left. So we're on our back, getting kind of that back glute. My right leg is bent, my left leg straight. Don't usually feel anything when I'm flat on it, but as soon as I rotate a little bit to the left, there it is. And if you find a spot, take a deep breath. Let that muscle relax. Good. When you feel like you've gotten a good point there, start to work your way down. So shift your body a little bit more. Take that right leg, bring it on over, and let's get that IT band and abductors. You may find one side of your body is a little bit tighter than the other side. This is usually the one where people feel the most awkward because I have you kind of in a pretzel position and holding your body up. But this is one that you will find a lot of benefit in. If you are a massage person, if you go and get a massage, whether it's a luxury for you or it's a necessity, if you are able to foam roll for just a little bit before your massage therapist will thank you. You are warming up those muscles and getting the initial breakdown happening so that when she gets in there, when he or she gets in there, they're able to just get straight to that problem area and not have to worry about all the other areas around it. Good. Slowly bring ourselves on up and relax. Good. So I can feel it all down the outsides of my legs. I can feel it in my glutes, but I can already tell that I feel so much better. Now let's work on the inside of our legs. Our inner sides is our adductors or our groin. This one's always kind of funny, so I apologize if it's a funky way that you can see me. Same kind of concept. Foot and knee are going to be on. And, whoops, I'm going to support myself with my elbows and roll really slow from my inner thigh right up towards the seam of my pants, out to that knee. Positioning that foam roller however you need to. Sometimes I'll put it at an angle. Sometimes I'll lower my chest down. By just lowering my chest, I can put a whole different pressure in. Remember, we only want to get about an inch and a half, half an inch to an inch and a half above that kneecap. So we don't want it on that kneecap. Moving really slow. Our adductors are very important muscles that some of us may work them often. If you do anything if you bike a lot, your adductors are going to be tight. If you ride horses, if you do anything where you have to use your inner thighs and keep your knees forward during an exercise, your adductors are going to feel it. They're also an area that we do not think about to stretch. Remember, we can always lower to that chest and cause a little bit of more pressure with gravity there. Slowly moving from that inner seam to that knee. Good. Let's transition to that other side now. So I'm going to flip around. You can just switch sides, whatever is easiest for you. Turning, you're also going to get a good hip stretch in here by opening that hip up. Laying straight down, feeling that nice stretch in that hip flexor, but then also feeling a little bit of tension in that inner thigh. Good. The only thing that I don't like to see is if people are up on their hands, your elbows usually put that spine in a safe position. If you're up on your hands, it can cause quite a bit of a bend in that lower back, and we don't want to do that. So I also sometimes moving down and being flat is nice because it allows for that spine to be in a nice, safe, and neutral spot. Tell that by my kneecap is where I feel it on this left side. Take a few deep breaths. Good. When you are ready, let's move that foam roller out of the way and just lay down flat and then slowly press yourself up. So we worked our upper body, we worked our glutes, our adductors, and our abductors, which are on the outside, inside, and our glutes. Those are all super important. The next one is going to be our hip flexors. This one's kind of funky, especially if you have a foam roller that's large like mine. They make these little ones that look like rolling pins, but that are foam, and those fit really nicely. And it's also gonna look really funny. So I'm going to lay the foam roller this way, and I'm going to lay over top of it with the foam roller right here. My butt is gonna be up in the air, my feet are gonna be down, and my whole upper body is gonna be into the ground. I'm gonna feel instant release in that lower back because there's no tension. And then I'm gonna start to get a nice stretch in that hip flexor because it is having to move around it. So how I like to do it is I like to pretend I'm a kid. And I just kind of roll myself onto it. And then slowly lower my head and my chest down to the ground. You can take your hands and make a little pillow for you. Taking some deep breaths. Letting that lower body relax. And you can play around. Maybe your feet are close. Maybe they're out a little further. I'm usually somewhere in the middle. I'm like, if I were to stand up, my feet would be just inside hip width, is what feels good to me. This is one of the ones I do when my lower back starts to bother me, whether it's from too much standing, sitting, or I just did something that's not normal for me. This is a nice one. Nice deep breaths. If somebody were walking on you, they'd probably laugh and wonder what you're doing, but then you can just ask them to join. Good. The easiest way I find to do this is take your hands, put them up underneath as if you were going to do a push-up. Drop through those knees, push through your knees, push through your hands, and do a little modified push-up up. Okay, so before I wrap up, is there anywhere that you're like, I'm kind of tight there? Do you have a foam roll? Do you have something that I could do for that area? Or do you feel like we've hit a lot of the major areas that you feel looser now?
I think we've hit a lot of my major trigger points. Like I said, my shoulders. I was in a couple of car accidents and stuff, so I've got scar tissue. So it's really hard for me to do some of those, but the stretching really helps. And I think I'll make some progress if I continue to do it on a regular basis.
Absolutely. And you have your foam roller that has the different sections in it. So when you are and I'm going to show you one more that you've probably done with your other foam roller, but it's going to target that spot. You're going to place it right underneath those shoulder blades, chin to your chest, hands go behind. You're just going to open up and then close. And you can either do this with your flat or your rounded. How's this feel?
Good.
This is one where my hands are behind my head, but they're not holding my head up. My neck is still doing the work. Do two more. Nice and easy. Good. So that's also a great one to do. I always tell people when you're watching TV, if you have your foam roller out, but I don't think I've known anyone that actually is consistent with using their workout equipment while they're watching TV. But if that is you, go for it and incorporate it. So any questions for me? Did any of those feel awkward? Which one was probably your favorite?
I think the ones at the beginning were my favorite because I am so tight here. I need to work on that more.
Perfect. So you already kind of said what you're going to do. What is your goal to incorporate it in? Are you going to work on it daily for a few minutes, twice a week, once a month? Anything is more than what you're doing now, most likely.
I think I'm going to try to do it 3 times a week.
Perfect. 3 times a week, and I will be checking in on you to see how it goes.
Okay, sounds good.
So if we don't have any other questions, we are going to wrap up for the day. Next week, I am going to be talking about how to make sure that you get your movement, your exercise, your workout, whatever it is, actually in throughout your day. Because I know life is busy and things happen and we're not able to get that whole workout in. So I'm going to show you 3 tricks that I use to make sure that I get intentional movement into each and every one of my days. So with that being the case, we will get out of here. Thank you guys so much for joining. You were so great today. Did you have fun? Did you have fun? Well, perfect. I will see you guys next time. Let me know if you have any questions, and great job today. Bye, guys.
Thank you.